Good morning, everybody. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone. Today with my friend and teacher, David Maria. Welcome.
Good morning, Kathy. As always, it is lovely to be here.
Yes. So I am so excited because we have some guests besides us today. But
Woohoo!
first, woohoo. But first, I wanted to explain that I have never taken a class before 6 times, but I'm finishing the sixth version, which is new and improved each time, of the Freedom from the Known class. And what today we're going to be doing is explaining a little bit about the Freedom of the Known class that David offers. That's 11-week course that is miraculous. The opportunity to really remember yourself as source can be a very joyous and enfolding experience without a lot of the drama, trauma, and story. And so, David, why don't you, for some of my audience that may not know anything about this work, could you start to explain your unfolding so that they could understand their possible unfolding?
Yes, absolutely. So, quote unquote, officially, whatever officially means. My awakening began in 2011. Then again, another one in 2012. Then another one in a really big one in Africa in 2018, and another really big one in 2020 when I moved to Mount Shasta. And in all of those occurrences, in all of those instances, to whatever degree that it happened, because I jump back occasionally, I lost myself on all of those dates. And probably one of the more auditorially dramatic ones was when I moved to Shasta. I was driving down from Oregon, and there's a final last curve when you're coming to Shasta, where you come around a really big corner and you have a fabulous view of the mountain. There's an overlook that you can pull off and park if you want. And just before that curve, I drove through this really physically palpable veil. And as I drove through it, all of my old stuff just fell away. It just dropped off. And that can happen to all of us. And it does happen to all of us. And for some, not necessarily for me, for some, they take that jump and they never look back. They don't. I have tended to, go back occasionally, go back for a little peek, a little sneak peek, a little lurk. It gets less and less and less and less each time. And so the very essence of what it is or what happens can be summed up in, if you're sitting someplace quietly and you're listening to the birds sing, who is it that's listening? And eventually you discover that that's not an appropriate question, because the bird, the song of the bird, the nature around you, everything around you, including you, it's all one event, if you will. It's all seamlessly one. There is no separation in there at all, and that includes the Creator. So the Freedom from the Known course is a course that came out of years of awakening, ostensibly really beginning with my first trip to Africa in 2018, where afterwards I sat for 3 months in the living room of my house, staring out the window, So much so that my next door neighbor at the time was convinced that I'd had a psychotic break and called a psychiatrist friend of theirs to describe my symptoms. And they said, yes, he absolutely has, and he needs to get into treatment right away before it becomes something he can't recover. And they would come over all concerned, really worried, and I would just sit and smile and laugh with them, because for outwardly it may have that appearance, but inwardly, no, that's not what's happening. So the freedom from the known course is that if you truly wish to step into the remembrance of who you are as a soul, and that you are not separate from source, and you never have been separate from the creator, not for a single second, no matter how much you might think that. Not for a second have you ever been disconnected. Then it's necessary to step outside of what you know, because what you know is never going to allow you to be able to experience the unknown. And it's only in the unknown that we really discover who we are. And the course is designed to walk you through a series of extremely deep cleansings. And what by deep cleansing, I mean we cleanse multi-generational through our familial lines, not only this life, but other lives too. Lives from either our past or our future that are all happening at the same time. That are all happening at the same time. My apologies. My phone just decided that it was going to do something weird. And Siri thought that I was talking to it. So, and her response was, on it.
And you are. Well, let's just, I want to explain that this opportunity is quite remarkable because of the simplicity of it. It really is a peeling off of layers of conditioning. When it's called freedom from the known, that is our programming that we didn't even realize that that's the construct we live in, but that it is superficial and it is not designed to give us joy and freedom to co-create with the universe at a high level. And so what this process does, it's a 11-week series of meditations that peel away these falsehoods so that you can resonate to source, to your original blueprint, correct?
Yes. So we do that cleansing. We do those peeling away of those layers. The imagery that I like to use every now and I am a guy, so and all the women out there, you're more than entitled to laugh at me, but I like the analogy of dirt track racers. That when they race in the rain, the track gets really muddy, and the helmets that they wear, they have a visor over the top of them, and they have tearaway strips, so that when it gets muddy, they can pull a strip off and they can see. And that's all we're doing, is we're just removing the layers that we've put on there ourselves. There's nobody to blame for this. We're all responsible for ourselves and our own consciousness. And we just peel off those layers until gradually there's nothing left. And then we start going into the very essence of who we are energetically, and bringing that back into the body to be able to anchor it and anchor it into the earth also. So it's just going deep and deep and deep and deep and cleaning. And then we begin to experience who we really are. And we go through quite a few weeks of a series of meditations designed to really take us deeper into the unknown, into experiencing who we really are. And it's really fun. It may not be fun in the moment, but it's really fun.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. I want to bring our other guests on. I'm hoping they'll explain and share their experience, because I'm not the same person that I was a year ago from doing these. I'm seriously so much more productive and doing things at a much higher energy level, not just, you know, like vitamin B12 kind of energy. I'm talking about alchemy, about creating. And that's what we've seen with some of the other participants as well, that they're having art shows, that they seemed like they were introverts and now they're having incredible experiences. And just watching people evolve in this class has been an eye opener for me.
You are not the person that came to this course the first time.
Mm-mm.
I'm not the person that I was yesterday afternoon.
uh, uh, and we're saying that's a good thing, you guys.
That's that's a really good thing. And if you followed any of the research of Dr. Joe Dispenza, in their research, they discovered that most people think somewhere between 80 and 90,000 thoughts a day. And most of those thoughts are thoughts that they had the day
Right.
before and
Right.
the day before. So your thinking is not actually original. It's not creative. There's nothing new coming out of the known.
Well, I think what I'm feeling is like my antenna got focused, where I don't have all the blocks to more of me being in this vessel. And that's what I had been asking for when I first heard your interview with Cian. And I started crying. I kept saying, I want to hold more of I want more soul body fusion, and I wanted to hold more light. And within a day or so, I heard that interview that you had, and I heard your voice, and I just burst out crying. I was like, okay, that's it. That's the path to holding more light for me. Well, that's why I'm so excited to introduce it. Well, you're laughing. Okay.
Oh, I'm laughing at myself because when you get to know me, you understand that I'm kind of a goofball. And yes, I know it, and it's true. And what I was laughing at was when you said you started crying. I said, "Yeah, I have that effect."
Oh, thanks a lot. Um, but what we want to encourage people, that if you take classes with David or do any one-on-ones with him, you'll see there aren't a lot of tears. There's a lot of rearrangement of the furniture, but there's not necessarily a lot of pain to this compared to a lot of other awakening processes that peel away things that make you that you have to get down and dirty with it. Like I did Avatar for 2 weeks straight. I did the Wizards, and then had a spiritually transformative experience 18 years ago. That was hard work. That and this is nothing like that. This is so lovingly resonant to source. So
And the secret that's not a secret is that as you strip away the layers, as we strip away the layers of our programming and any energetic trauma that is stored in us, whether it's from this life or another life, somewhere in our incarnational stream, whether it's coming through us, whether it's coming through our ancestors, whatever it is, when you strip it away, there you are in your magnificent shining diamond light. And that's a description of everybody. There's nobody that's exclusive from this. We've just forgotten, and we've forgotten for an extremely long time. And there's been all kinds of cultural and familial and national and religious imperatives all along that have stacked layer upon layer upon layer upon layer.
yeah.
And we just strip that away, and once it's off, then there we are.
Right. Yes. I think that's the gift of this time, is that we're allowed, it's a time to be self-actualized, but that there isn't, this path I think is one of the fastest, and I'm enjoying it a lot. Oh, this is great. Spirit Talk with Lizzie says, hi, beautiful souls. And
Hi,
she
Lizzie.
wants to play. Hi, Lizzie. So, okay, so I'm going to pull on some of our other, my fellow students and friends onto the screen so that they can explain their experience. Well, Rochelle Gaiman's on, and Helena. So we have Hawaii. We have Hawaii. We have off continent, and Helena and Rochelle here. So what we're hoping to do today is have you um, explain your experience. Helena, how many times have you done this? Is this your second?
Yes.
Okay.
Second time around.
Is it okay if I put you first? You okay?
Sure.
Okie dokie. Rochelle, you okay too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'd love to have you explain your experience so that somebody who might be feeling this is the right path for them, but don't know what to expect and are maybe a little frightened of the idea of this, that they would know what your experience was. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Aloha, everyone. Good morning from beautiful Hawaii. And I'd like to say that this is my second time around, and you never stop growing. I just decided to jump on in there after hearing Kathy and David's interview, and it was magnificent. I honored these two people for their authenticity and their humbleness, etc. And they are so funny. Kathy is always laughing, and David laughs at himself quite a bit. So we can follow that as examples. Anyway, throughout the 2 times that I've taken the course, I have found that I have continually grown and confirmed that yes, layers of stuff do get cleared away. The transmissions that David, excuse me, David gives us along with the meditation is quite extraordinary. So you must try and check it out for yourselves. I'm sure everyone will have a different experience, and no two people are alike anyway. Nevertheless, I decided to continue to see what else, how much further I can go to actually realize solidly that I am one with the source. There is no division, no separation, and I have always been that. So come on, everybody, take a chance, jump in. Aloha.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And Leah, all of us are going through times where there's so much change going on, and that's the other thing, that Halea's had a lot of change in her life. All of us have, and this process has really given us a different perspective on how to go through these huge global changes and then personal changes during this time without collapsing under the pain of it, right?
That's true. I've lived through, excuse me, 2 transitions. One of my mom in, let's see, that was in October of last year. And then most recently, the passing of my son in February. So I did experience as a human, the tsunami waves. Some were quite turbulent and the others were bearable. And I must thank the loving community that David has in the freedom of from the known course. The community is so deeply compassionate and loving, and without their support and David's and Kathy's, I'm sure I would be in a different space. So
Yes.
just for hooking up with a community that's so loving and caring and going above and beyond. I thank you so much.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Because I think there's all of us are being touched by change and loss of some level. And Rochelle lost her brother during the beginning of her thing too. So this is what Halea brought up that I didn't bring up and David didn't bring up was the community, that there's a group of us that keep taking the course. I mean, seriously, it's not because I failed. I have to keep taking. It's not. I didn't get an F, and I have to keep taking it again. It's because I can't believe how much stuff is still there to release, and that the freedom and the creativeness. I just am so thrilled with it. I can't imagine not getting to uncover more and see what else. It's like a little kid. What else is in there, right? So, Rochelle, you can speak to that too. I think, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Kathy.
Thanks,
So,
Celine.
for me, when I started the course, in fact, I saw David on the interview. I think you were interviewing him, and I saw him, and one of the things that I immediately did was connect with his voice. There was something that really resonated with me about his voice, and it felt so familiar. It felt like family, and it was such a grounding presence for me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I got to check this out. And when explaining the class back then, it's hard really to understand what freedom from the known means, and we've all struggled with that. But I think one of the things for me, I've had I had a spiritual experience out in Mount Shasta where the beings out there were so loving, and they taught me to love myself. But then David took it to the next level, and really what this class is about is the transmission that he receives is a meditation. And we go back, multi generations, 32 generations back, and we are carrying things that are imprinted by our parents and these different family members and life traumas and things that really kind of forms our ego, and we're protecting the essence of our soul. And what this really does, for me, it like strips all that away. And while I was doing the class, I started asking questions like, are these my expectations, or are they my mother's expectations? And what the answers were that came back, and I realized that I was living through some of the expectations that were placed upon me from when I was a child. And so the goal is to get you back to your original soul blueprint. So who are you, and what is your purpose here? And as I started doing the healing that occurred, one of the things that I realized was that my soul wasn't fully in my body, and that it was probably hanging out my aura or something. But I totally came fully in my body, and I became present. And as I shifted and healed all the things that I needed to heal, well, there's still layers. But my point is that my gifts started coming in more fully, because I had room for them now, because I had offloaded these things I basically, Kathy, you described it like unhitching your wagon to all this stuff that you're carrying that isn't even yours. And so it was about kind of embracing my soul again, and also not reacting to some of the emotions that were occurring, going to neutral, for example, really going to neutral and being curious instead of being judgmental, and kind of looking at it from that perspective, as people are, as they're reacting, just looking at it in a different context than than going to your original set of your responses of emotionally reacting. And so it really has helped me show up more fully in every way in my life. And I'm very grateful for that, David, and also Kathy, and also Halea, because with that, it's the group that where we're working together, where we're coming together as students, as people that really care about one another, and the integration that occurs after every single meditation is just amazing. And yeah, I had things happening at the same time, like Halea, but thank God I was in the course when this occurred, and I had major breakthroughs, and I'm really living from the heart, and I'm really grateful for that.
I want to share that Robin Nicole wrote. It shows his Facebook user, but I went and checked. It was Robin. She says, I can say firsthand that I've watched Rochelle as she has been taking David's classes and how she has transformed right in front of my eyes. She is more content and trusting of herself and her gifts. Her mediumship has expanded as well.
Oh my gosh, that's
Isn't that
I don't want,
beautiful?
I want to cry, but I also want to tell you also this weekend, I got to tell you this, it's so cool. There was a non-denominational church where I did a lot of work with the pastor and his wife, and the wife came up to me and she saw me this weekend, and she hugged me and she looked into my eyes and she started crying, and with this big smile on her face, and I said, Debbie, why are you crying? She said, Rochelle, I see the light in your eyes and it's so loving. She said, I just feel the presence. I see the light within you and it's so beautiful. And then she came up to me the next day and said the same thing and was overwhelmed with love. And how cool is that, And I do feel that freedom and that peace within me. So I just really encourage everyone. I'm going to be taking it again. So this will be my third time. So, and thanks, Robin, for that lovely compliment.
Isn't that nice? Well, I could have said that too. That's what it's been fun to watch people as they evolve. I can't imagine what David thinks, but see, do you guys, the other thing is, this is not, David is right along with us working on his human. The field that he opens up is the field to the divine, to our source. But he's also very humbly working on himself. So it's not like he used to get mad at me when I called him teacher, but I don't know what else to call him because I'm taking a class. But he's taking the class too, right?
Yeah.
I get to take it for free.
Oh.
So, David, part of this is the opportunity for people to not suffer during these changing times. Isn't that what you all feel, that this has helped us? It's like I look so forward to these classes, and I protect my time so I can be there most of the time. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Kathy. With that, I think that not only have I protected it, but just the evolution of everything has just been amazing. And especially since this past couple of years, we've had the fear consciousness that has been out there, right? And so, through that, David also shows as human beings how we instinctively match that vibration. That's something in our humanness that we match. And it's just something that we automatically do. And if we can kind of look at that and stop and start to really manage our energy, managing our the way that we respond to the world, the things that come to us, going to neutral and asking those questions versus just reacting to it, and and also managing our own vibration and not going to that fear consciousness, but really try to stay in the love consciousness, and knowing that you are me and I am you, and that we're walking. You know, David, you always say we're walking each other home, and that we're just a mirror, and you know, and how people can reflect our bad stuff or our good stuff, and you know, what is this? And just ask the question, what is all this about? You know,
Exactly.
and it's really helped me do that.
Yeah. Well, you become the observer rather than the participant in the play. And as you become the observer, you get to wonder, why is this here? What is it to teach me, rather than be in fear of it?
Right.
It changes, don't you think? I mean, Hule, would you say that too? That a lot of the fear, your first response would have naturally been fear, but it's released?
Well, I admit that I have experienced the doldrums, you know, of having lost loved ones. And then I remember we're all one, there's no loss. And fear is the biggest thing people have to face, the fear of death, anyway. And when you realize it's all life to life, death is not real. And David and Kathy and Rochelle, how can you improve upon perfection? You guys are rocking it. Thank you.
Well, we don't think we are. We're still playing. There's more to come. Watch out, world.
And if I can comment, one of the things that we haven't touched on is that, yes, we do a lot of clearing. Yes, we do a lot of removal of programming and trauma, etc. on the backside of that, as that finally clears from us, then we discover that we are actually completely and totally the creators of our life, whatever it is. And we learn more about what that's like. We learn more about how to bring forth the life that we really want, the one that just makes us all jumpy and happy inside to even think about that we're not only creating, but we're co-creating with everybody else the new life that we want to bring forward, that we are bringing forward. And remember that we've just stepped into, quote unquote, officially, into the age of Aquarius. And the old epoch is there are remnants of it that are still here, but it's dissolving fast. More and more and more and more people are seeing how completely dysfunctional and corrupt it is, and from top to bottom. And there doesn't seem to be anything that's excluded from that. And in that awareness, in this phenomenal new energy that is returning, and everybody's expanded abilities to be in that and feel not just your body, not just the life that you're living now, but to feel the full extent of the multidimensional beings that we really are. So when we take birth, that's one of the very first things that happens, is that we're disconnected from all of our multidimensional awareness. Not everybody, fortunately, there are still people that come in and they're wide awake when they come in and they stay awake. But for everybody else, we begin to remember that. And that's really amping up now. And it's going to only continue. So it's like having access to not just jet fuel, but to rocket fuel. You know, it's going to be really fun. And as I joke with everybody a lot, it's just while you're in the ride, please keep your hands and feet inside the ride at all. Just be safe.
Right. Well, and that's what we really want to share, the opportunity. The other thing that we've mentioned the community several times, but there's a lot of international co-creation in this group. there's people from all over the world that it may be midnight. Like right now, Hale is in Hawaii, so it's really early in the morning for her. But there's people from Ireland and England and used to be Portugal. So there's people from all over the world that are participating in this that give you a wonderful humanity feel to it. It's we know we're all the same, but it really shows us we're all the same, and that we. The other thing, Rochelle, I wanted you to share because when you started one of the first classes, you really went back 32 generations in your experience. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Because that, do you mind sharing it?
No, yeah, no, it was really interesting. I think it was when we were doing the fear body, and so we went into the fear body, and I went 32 generations back, and as I pulled all that forward, I mean, I just started sobbing, and I just felt the suffering from all in my familial line, and it was just so amazing, and the clearing that took place and the healing that took place. And I didn't need the stories that went with it. I have no idea. But I didn't have to make sense out of this senseless situation. But it was so, I didn't realize that I was carrying all of that, and to release myself from that suffering that I didn't even know I was carrying in my DNA and in my body and the pain body, and removing it and bringing it forward, and allowing that to be healed was just an incredible experience. So much so that I felt finally more fully in my body, and the constructs that existed too, that I was carrying around, these things that and the judgment and all of that, really, it was taking its toll on me, and I didn't even realize, because it was happening at a level that I never knew even existed.
Right.
And that's the key. And some people, I guess, need stories because they're trying to make sense out of a senseless situation. Some of the stories came through a Facebook page about, there was some generational wounding that occurred that I found out about that made sense to me. But it was the relief. And then I also had a situation where I literally came back into my body, and I felt my sovereignty, And it was like, oh my gosh, and so when I reclaimed that through doing this process, I'm just like, there's more to do. But the fact that this is the first time that I felt that, and I really knew who I was versus carrying all this stuff that wasn't even mine, was such a feeling of freedom. So I don't know, Kathy, if that's what
Yeah, that's exactly, because I wanted people to understand that if you do have, so there's a lot of people that do past life work, they do this current life work, and there's a lot of talk therapy and all of that. And what I've found with this is like pulling it all out without me having to name it, or
Right.
sometimes I'm curious, like,
Yeah.
the first time I took it, I took the class, I felt, after the very first one, I went out on my deck and I sat there for 5 hours in the sun, and I felt like a defrag computer where stuff had been taken out and then it was rearranging, and it didn't feel unpleasant. It didn't, I had no idea what was taken. I totally trusted, which that's unusual for me. That my journey has been to trust and feel safe a lot of times too. And but it was like refrag, and it's still doing that. It continue after a year of doing this, not every Saturday, but almost every Saturday for a year. I'm still finding that I'm just amazed at the new perspective that I have about life and about this whole a game that we're in, rather than being a victim of it. I'm now a player.
Yeah, you know, Kathy, what you just said, how do people get out of victimization and go from victimization to empowerment? You know, and how do you build that bridge, right? And you know, I would say this is a great way to do it, because a lot of people are in victim mode or feel victimized and they don't know how to get out of that loop. How do you get out of that loop? You know, and start to explore that. And once you get into the class, not only, you know, for me, I reclaim my sovereignty, but also I became extremely empowered.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Halea, do you want to add anything?
Well, I take myself seriously, or I used to take myself seriously, but not according to, but since taking the classes, I am so grateful for the replays because they are as powerful as being in person. I was not able to attend the classes all the way through the first and second time, but I did manage to catch up. And I'd also like to be fully transparent. Before, I was such a controlling bitch about my own life, and now I can let all that go. It's not important. As long as I can be kind and compassionate and loving, that's it.
Oh, how perfect. How perfect. Yeah, I think we all have our mechanisms to deal with fear, whether it's the rigid control of your environment and people in it so you can feel safe. That's what I was saying, you know, feeling safe, trusting that this is all for our highest good. That didn't come natural to me either.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I allow people to have their own feelings because it's a free country, and being set up in the family unit that I was, you know, I took on the responsibility of making sure that everybody was okay. But you know, people are allowed to get upset, and it's, you know, it's kind of like that. It's like, okay, well, they'll get over it, you know, and allow them to have their feelings and just go into neutral and not have to fix everything, you know. That's the other thing, because they're living their, you know, they're working on their stuff too, and allow them to have the freedom to work on their stuff, you know.
Yeah. One other thing you mentioned was labels. I think a lot of this process releases labels where you used to say that's this and that's that, and then you'd navigate through it because of those labels. That's how you created your storyline. And then after a while, it's like, oh, I don't need those labels at all.
Yeah, there was this one line that I read. I think it was from Walt Whitman, and it says, "Instead of being judgmental, be curious." And that kind of stuck with me. And so I had been saying that because I had really realized how judgmental I was. And that really helped. And I started asking what and how questions versus judging, and becoming more curious instead of judging it and putting it in this bucket, you know? So I felt safe, you know, and just started to allow things, you know. That was very helpful. Yeah.
Curiosity is so incredibly joyful.
Yeah.
So David, do you want to say something? It's our show, but but we'll let you talk too.
The entire time that we've been here, We've been listening to the beautiful birds in Hawaii singing outside
Yes,
Hialeah's
it's
windows.
gorgeous.
And I'll come back to what I said at the very beginning. Who is it that's hearing the sound of the birds singing? Who is it? Just take a breath and come into the center of your heart and just feel what is the presence. Just not even asking what is the presence, just feeling the presence that is everything, that is the birds outside the window. And you'll notice, if you remember, there's been a lot of different birds that have come through. The four of us here together, sharing today, and that the four of us obviously includes me. Just the presence that is here with us, flowing through us, as us, all the time. We are not separate from the energy of creation, and it doesn't just flow through us, it flows through us as us. We are that source. We are the one that's listening to the birds without defining what the bird is, without a thought of, oh, that's such and such a bird. I know that bird. It's just being present in the moment and allowing that experience, that energy to flow through us, knowing that that's who we are. Not sometime off in a maybe it might happen future, this moment, this now. And it's not something that is really and truly, it's not something that you have to work for. It's your birthright. It's everybody's birthright. Kathy always encourages me to be more of a salesperson. I'm not sure, and Kathy's quite clear on this. I'm not sure that I know how to do that. But I will say that if you feel a resonance, with my voice, with whatever the words that come out of my mouth, and realize that the words are just a projection of who I am. It's just it's just spirit flowing through me in this moment. It's not channeling. I'm not a big fan of channeling as it is normally thought of by most people, that somehow whoever it is that you're channeling is separate from you, because that's not true. And as Kathy mentioned in the classes, what happens is that my energetic field just opens, and the energy of whatever the day's class is going to be, whatever the transmission is going to be, including the conversational words that happen before the meditation. That's just spirit flowing through. And again, it's spirit flowing through as us. And that's true of each and every one of you that's here today, and that will listen to this recording that later on, through whatever medium that you end up listening to it. It's phenomenal just to sit in that energy and let it take you. And as my dear friend Wanda Vitale says, we become just like a leaf that spirit blows us wherever it wants us to go. And that's what we do. We have no resistance to it, so we just get blown. We go wherever it is that spirit wants us to be, and that's not necessarily a physical place. So if you feel a resonance with this, and you feel the guidance in your heart, because your heart will always tell you, your body will always tell you. If you're feeling contraction listening to this may not be the course that you're looking for. But if you're feeling this expansion inside yourself and you're resonating with it, yeah, I look forward to sharing with you. And Kathy says she never knows what to call me except for a teacher. And I would just say that I'm somebody that shares, and I love to share with everybody. Just on a side note, there is now a Freedom from the Known course that is happening in Australia. And because of the time differences, there's no way to organize a single class that somebody's not up at 2 a.m. in order to be able to attend in their time zone. So now I'm offering a Freedom from the Known course in Australia that's on a Friday at 3:00 in the afternoon. So it's at least somewhat early. It's early in the morning, but it's not outrageously early. And there will be more. This was kind of a spontaneous put together. And but as soon as it's over, there will be another one. So currently there are 3 Freedom from the Known courses that are all happening concurrently, and it's really fun. And to be honest, there are times that I'm confused as to which class it is that's actually happening. And the only way that I can tell is by looking at the people that are there. So,
Yeah. David, I'm going to share your website real quick, okay?
okay, that you.
So people can see. So this is the Eden template website where I'm just going to scroll down. David, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, as you scroll out, there's just a little bit of a quote on what it is, and I offer singular class activations, and of course the Freedom from the Known, which is right there in the middle, and I also offer one-on-one sessions if people need a little bit of assistance to be able to walk through, and you'll find a little bit of my story, a little bit of the history of my journey, which really and truly it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, we all come to our remembering in the way and in the time that we come to. So all of those mountain pictures that you saw there, those are Mount Kirinaga or Mount Kenya in Kenya, Africa, where I had my primary awakening. And that, of course, is Mount Shasta, where I currently live. And that is a picture of me with Mount Kenya in the background.
Cool. Well, then the next class is April 8th.
It begins April 8th and registration is open.
So we hope that more of you, after you see this and after you sense this out, will jump on board with us to feel this joy and to get the opportunity to share your divine gifts at a much higher level after you clear the obstacles to doing that.
And thank you to each and every one of you that's here today. Thank you, Hylia. Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you to all of you that are viewing out there in multimedia land. Whatever version of this, whatever medium that you're watching, if you feel guided to share this with friends, please do so, and I look forward to sharing with you.
Okay.
In whatever capacity that you want to come in and share with.
Does anyone want to share because we're about to sign off? Anybody want to share a final? Oh, good. Angel Divine says she wants to join us all. Yay. Yeah, you guys will see. It's a rockin' opportunity.
It's a rocking opportunity. I love the way.
Oh, I mean, most spiritual things like this, where you're going to go take a workshop, or they're scary. I mean, it really is like you have this feeling that, oh no, what am I getting into? And this was like, oh my gosh, it's liberation. It really is liberate. For me, that's what it's been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and each meditation, each week it's different, right? And so we're working on different things. And the recording, I think we only mentioned it one time, Halea mentioned it. The recording you can actually do over and over again during the week. And he makes them, David, you make them available for us to revisit anytime. And I think that's really important as well. So during our journey, so we can continue to fully integrate. So,
And
yeah.
I'd like to say that the course itself has been made very comfortable and safe, because the containers that are created are they're impenetrable. So you do feel such a comfort and safety and love from the community, as well as everyone attending, and even those that we can't see who attend. Thank you.
Yeah, there's always
That's perfect.
there is always a plethora of beings that show up to be of assistance.
That's so great. Well, thank you all so much. Want to invite you, if April 8th, 11-week class of freedom from the known it doesn't work for you, please consider some other way to have this experience. And then there will be hopefully another one after April, and David will be coming back to Boulder, Colorado, to do an in-person event again. Who knows what we'll come up with. But you guys, this is the fastest track to finding the love of who you are. It really is. I just want to scream it. That's why I keep telling people about it, because, and you guys listened and knew that this could change your life forever, and everyone around you.
Let me just make one more comment here, Kathy.
Okay.
We are all the creators of our lives, and if this particular path doesn't resonate for you, no worries. You can't do this. You literally cannot do this wrong. Everybody gets out of here alive. Everybody gets out of life alive. Nobody dies. Nobody is left behind. That doesn't happen. And if this course doesn't resonate for you, that's fine. There will be, in the moment that you're ready, there will be another that will come forward to be of assistance to you if you need that assistance. Not everybody does.
Right.
Some of us wake up spontaneously, seemingly on our own. It's never on our own. It's never on our own, because we always have innumerable non-physical guides that are with us. So I hope to see all of you soon.
Yes, and the best place for you to go is www.theedentemplate.com, correct?
TheEdenTemplate.com.
Huh? TheEdenTemplate.com, right?
That's correct. I've often wondered why it wasn't just the Eden Temple, but that was the guidance. No, it's the Eden Template.
Yes. Well, we're all so blessed to be together and have a opportunity to share today. Thank you so much, everyone. And Halea, that was really early for you. Thank you for getting up. You look beautiful for this early. And thank you, Rochelle. Thank you so much. I know you just came back from a big trip. And anyway, thank you. Bless you guys. And See you on Saturday.
See you
That's
then. Blessings. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bless you.